It has a 6-story height, is resistant to nuclear blasts, and operates at a cost of almost $200,000 per hour. It's no small feat to get the American president around the globe. As the most well-known and possibly significant aircraft in the world, Air Force One must be expertly outfitted with impenetrable security, unsurpassed luxury, and cutting-edge missile defense systems. And believe us when we say that it is accounting for all the amazing high-end military features. It makes sense why the Flying White House has gained notoriety in the media, so why don't we go inside and take a look around? Fasten your seatbelts. Let's talk about the airplane itself before we enter the 3-level decked-out cabin and examine the remarkable features dispersed throughout it. What does Air Force One actually do? Think of the standard Air Force One aircraft, the big, eye-catching blue and white superjet. To appreciate its uniqueness, all you have to do is look at the American flag on the tail or the enormous text that reads, United States of America. There isn't anything else quite like it, am I right? Wrong. In reality, there is anything that is identical to it. This is so because there are multiple Air Force One aircraft. In reality, the White House has 2 identical homes. The tail numbers for these 2 heavily customized Boeing 747-200B series airplanes are 28,000 and 29,000 respectively. Although Theodore Roosevelt was the first American president to fly in a plane back in 1910, it wasn't until President Eisenhower used the word for the first time in 1953 that Air Force One became a reputable icon. But in a moment, we'll return to that distinctive name. JFK was the first president to fly on an airplane designed particularly for presidential use, a modified Boeing 707. This happened in 1962. Raymond Loewy, the aircraft's designer, decided to use a well-known baby blue as its primary hue. Why? Considering that it was Jackie Kennedy's preferred hue and, of course, that it complemented the colors of the presidential seal. Since then, everyone from Obama through Nixon, Reagan, Trump, and everyone in between has been transported by the renowned wings. The newest Boeing jumbo planes were introduced in 1991 during the presidency of George H.W. Bush. It should not be surprising that modern planes are expensive given their excellent security and comfort features. According to reports, Trump and Boeing came to an unofficial agreement capping the cost of 2 new Air Force Ones at $3.9 billion. In a word, yes, Trump had, quote, negotiated a good deal, according to Boeing. The first formal report from the Defense Department, however, indicates that the actual cost is much greater. For the upgraded pair, the Pentagon will have to pay $5.2 billion. The 2 aircraft are generally built similarly to a standard commercial Boeing 747. They are gigantic, measuring nearly 3 times the height of a giraffe and a city block long. Each is equipped with 4 engines, each of which produces 56,000 pounds of power, allowing the aircraft to reach a top speed of around 700 miles per hour, approximately 10% slower than the speed of sound. It has the ability to fly far and quickly. These aircraft have a single full tank capacity of 53,611 gallons, which allows them to travel halfway around the globe. Additionally, Air Force One cruises at a higher altitude than the typical airliner, 45,000 feet as opposed to 30,000 feet. Contrary to popular belief, this Boeing or another one like it is not specifically mentioned in Air Force One. Air Force One is merely a term and a point of reference. It isn't actually a plane. The F-22 Raptor, for instance, would replace Air Force One if the president were to board it for the duration of his flight. Clearly, it is not even necessary for it to be a luxury Boeing or a transport plane. The new Air Force One would be his seat if he's in a B-2 Spirit stealth bomber. The radio call for any Air Force vehicle carrying the president is simply known by its moniker. To prevent confusion with any other flights in the region, all crew members and air traffic controllers are constantly reminded of this. In this manner, it is feasible to prioritize the president's plane safety at all times. When the president flies in an Army plane, it is known as Army One, and when he or she flies in a naval plane, it is known as Marine One. The name system was originally employed during the administration of Dwight D. Eisenhower when the presidential plane confusingly shared a call sign with a commercial flight operated by Eastern Airlines. The need for a new and enhanced system was instantly evident given that they were both flying in the same airspace. The most popular presidential transport aircraft are equipped with 3 distinct floors, just like a standard Boeing 747. However, as you're about to see, Air Force One's interiors bear almost no resemblance to regular 747s. The lowest floor is usually used as freight space as we make our way up. The upper level is reserved for the sophisticated communications equipment, with the middle level serving as the primary passenger space. Without a doubt, storage for equipment and cargo is crucial. The passenger section is, however, by far the most fascinating place. The president's personal bedroom, bathroom, exercise area, and office are all included in the onboard living space of the aircraft, which makes most apartments seem modest. The majority of the furniture is handmade by professional carpenters to the president's specific tastes, as if that weren't luxury enough. A sizable conference room that serves as both the president's dining room and the center of the middle level is its focal point. Senior staff members have a separate allotted workspace, and visiting reporters are given a separate location as well. The man-sized jet can accommodate 26 crew members and 70 passengers overall. Considering our reasonable understanding of the layout, even high-level media and visiting politicians are prohibited from entering certain areas of the aircraft. This indicates that, other from a generic description of what is inside the aircraft, only the president and his staff are aware of the particular arrangement of these parts. The president isn't being served a bag of stale, over-salted peanuts for lunch, which much is certain. The crew of the aircraft offers first-class service, including a delectable high-quality food around the clock. Whatever the president desires is prepared by passionate cooks. This might include unusual foods or some classic fast food. Former menus have ranged from KFC chicken to Caesar wraps, steaks, taco salads, fresh salads, and anything else you can think of. And a skilled cook can prepare it. The staff can prepare meals for up to 2,000 people at a time and can feed roughly 100 people at a time. Contrary to the preparation process for regular airline meals, the White House staff must choose markets at random, carry out groceries covertly, and never source from the same place twice in order to safeguard the president from the possibility of a poison attack. However, in the event that something terrible does go wrong 45,000 feet in the air, Air Force One is outfitted with all the necessary medical supplies. When emergency surgery is required, a fold-out operating table, a large pharmacy, a defibrillator, oxygen, and many other things are available in the special medical room. Of course, having all the necessary tools is useless if no one knows how to utilize them. That is why a staff doctor who follows the president everywhere he goes is always on board. The plane is equipped with a wide range of cutting-edge communication tools in case something does go wrong. However, it is clear that the extensive electronics' principal goal is to, manage a nation. There is no time to take in the beauty above the sky when you have more than 331 million people under your wing. To keep up with developments on the ground, the Air Force One aircraft are equipped with 19,000 televisions, 85 telephones, and a variety of secure two-way radios for backup communication, as well as fax machines and ultra-high-speed onboard Wi-Fi. With all of these systems in place, the president can easily get in touch with virtually everyone on the planet. One of the thoroughly vetted military personnel on board will make the calls if he isn't doing it personally. 26 people make up the average crew of Air Force One, and they're all expected to operate with the utmost professionalism and security. Each and every member of the staff is chosen from the military, is subjected to stringent background investigations, and is expected to have a distinguished record of service. People, this is no ordinary job, so it goes without saying that the president's final voyage on Air Force One is always poignant as he says goodbye to his devoted team of more than 4 years. Another intriguing aspect of Air Force One that distinguishes it from other types of aircraft is the fact that it is not dependent on airport infrastructure or staff, which significantly reduces security risks. The aircraft are outfitted with retractable stairways, baggage loaders, and 3 entrances in case one is compromised. The presidential plane technically never needs to land because it can refuel in midair, unlike conventional aircraft that must stop every few hours. This is an essential strategy to employ in an emergency, particularly if the threat is land-based. Yes, it is a vital precaution, but it is also incredibly expensive. Obama's Air Force One cost taxpayers exactly $206,337 for each hour it was in the air, according to a Freedom of Information Act. For a typical flight from New York to Los Angeles, that comes to around $1 million. But why is the price so high? The 26-person crew must first be paid, followed by the cost of fuel. The anticipated fuel expenses total an astounding $80,000 every hour, with the 4 engines using about 5 gallons of gas per mile. Don't forget the 3 escorting helicopters and the cargo planes that must convey the presidential limousine. Not to mention the second Boeing, which must board the aircraft in the event that the first one encounters a problem. So that you can see how the numbers add up quickly. Fortunately, the likelihood of anything bad happening to that plane is pretty low. Why? Considering that it is outfitted with some of the most cutting-edge avionics and defense equipment conceivable. The aircraft can evade enemy radars and fire white-hot flares to confuse any approaching missiles that seek out heat. Instead, if the missiles are infrared-seeking, they can be jammed and deflected using IRCM jammers, which are essentially special infrared lights. With the help of its reinforced windows and specially coated hull, Air Force One can not only deflect any surface-to-air missile and fend off bullets, it can also endure the effects of nuclear bombs wreaking havoc on the earth below. Therefore, the president can confidently flee to the skies if things start to get out of hand on the ground. There is a lot of more preparation and organization that goes on behind the scenes than most people understand whether an emergency situation does suddenly occur, or more simply, if the president merely wants to take a quick trip to Hawaii. Before every flight, the aircraft is thoroughly inspected by skilled Air Force crews at the Maryland Andrews Air Force Base. After receiving the all-clear signal, the Marine One helicopter takes a president from the White House to the Air Force Base, while troops maintain a close eye out for any potential threats from uninvited aircraft. And yes, they have permission to shoot there. A number of cargo aircraft depart just before the presidential Boeing takes off, transporting the procession of the penitentiary laden with bulletproof weapons. The Air Force makes sure the president's ground transportation is prepared and accessible when he arrives by doing this. Is keeping this bird in the air too pricey at $200 per hour? Please share your opinions in the comments section below. And don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. We'll talk to you again soon.